Missed out on breakfast? Fret not. It's never too late to grab a bite.
All right, so I was looking through the New York Times Well section. I came across this piece entitled 8 Phrases to Help Your Relationship Thrive. And I thought since the two of you are married, you could weigh in on A, whether you actually use some of these phrases, and B, whether they actually work. They're based on tips from couples therapists, so this is what we're focusing on for Breakfast Bites today. But before I dive in, would the two of you kindly like to divulge some of the phrases that you absolutely cannot stand during times where you disagree with your partners?
I think it's interesting because words can have a lot of power. What you say can really change the mood of stuff.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm very careful about what I say or not say.
Very good, very good. What I can't stand.
Calm down.
Oh, yeah.
I know that's a big no-no.
Listen, no woman in history has ever calmed down because a man told her to calm down. This is a PSA, okay? So telling someone like, I'm sorry you feel that way, that I don't like either.
Ooh, okay.
But why are you so worked up? Does that have the same meaning as calm down?
Well, yeah, so I think that it's a combination of, I'm sorry you feel that way is, okay, this sounds like a you problem and I'm sorry that you're dealing with this. I have no part to play, right? But there are some things that I think that couples can adopt to have a healthy relationship. It's not necessarily things you say, but there's stuff that you do as well.
Yeah.
I do remember that there was this German study, I think it was back in the 1980s, that showed that when a husband kisses his wife before he goes to work or when he comes home from work, the average man who does that would live up to 5 years longer than someone who doesn't.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's a habit that we have kind of adopted, like a hug and a kiss, and also that's something for the kids to see.
Yeah, Ryan, better start kissing your wife before you come to studio, huh?
Yeah, I actually do sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, very good.
So maybe I'll live a longer life.
Excellent.
So the phrase that comes to mind is, I like to ask how come, like when she's complaining about something. It gets
Why are you like that?
her into, I guess, a bit of a space that allows her to just let it out.
Nice. I like that. All right. Anyway, here are some recs by couples therapists for improving comms. No one phrase is a magic cure. Timing and tone are equally important. So first phrase is you start. A psych prof says conflict often arises when partners are struggling to be understood by each other, which we've alluded to, at exactly the same time. So he likens it to two fire hoses pointed at each other who are fighting hard to be heard. Saying you start is a simple way to flip the script. It signals that you really want to understand where your partner is coming from. How often do you guys take this route?
No, because at first when you said you start, I thought it was like a fighting, like, okay, you start.
Yeah. No, obviously not in that sense.
Yeah, I think in some relationships, expectations are set. Like who is the usual person who starts? There's typically a listener and a non-listener, I guess.
Okay.
So there is a dynamic already being set. But I think in some relationships it might be more 50-50.
Okay, so guys, who's usually the instigator in fights in your respective lives? Or should we not go there?
I wouldn't say that I'm the instigator, but I will say that there are some things that I know I like done a certain way. And so I just have more things that I care about, So because of that, there are more things that would...
Understood.
Yeah.
You're more particular.
That's right.
Carrying Audrey.
Okay. The next phrase is, can we slow down? Another expert says, heated arguments usually happen fast. People tend to become reactive, which can quickly turn into, quote, blame, defensiveness, criticism, and avoidance. Asking can we being the operative word here, slow things down, acknowledges you both have a role to play in responding to one another with more curiosity and care. It's different than telling your partner to calm down, which can be emotionally dismissive.
That's right.
Magical words.
The third phrase is, I see the impact I had on you. Apparently, many couples are stuck in a cycle of arguing about their intent. They'll say, but I had good intentions. Why can't you see that?
Right.
Guilty as charged. I used to do that back in the day. But part of recovering from a conflict is acknowledging the effect you had on your partner, whether or not it was intentional.
Right.
You got to take the back seat here. Next phrase, would that be okay? A sex therapist who was interviewed says he often has to ask his clients personal questions about delicate subjects. And he starts with, I need to ask you about X, fill in the blank. Would that be okay? What he says is that over time, couples pick that up and start talking that way to each other, often with excellent results.
Okay, so not just in fights or arguments. It's just, it has become part of their daily life that they ask whether their partner is okay with something.
For instance, instead of launching directly into a conversation about your partner's family, you might say something like, I'd like to talk to you about your mother. Would that be okay?
Oh, man.
I don't see that happening.
Really?
Yeah, it's so formal. I like to.
I mean, but it's a way to diffuse the potential tension that may arise.
I guess theoretically it should work. Yeah, but it goes down to what you pointed out earlier: timing, the context, and you got to read the room.
Okay, fair enough. Well, those 4 words apparently can quickly convey kindness and consideration. There are a few more, but I might leave that for the next time. And I don't think you can ever really go wrong with some of these phrases.
Yeah.
On that note, thank you to the two of you for listening.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Emaad.